Hi, and welcome to another episode of Cupcakes, Cocktails, and Conversation. It's Nicole, and I'm here to talk about long distance relationships. Let's see what I got. So, long distance relationships, let me tell you, I'm going to say I might be an expert at this. And the first thing I'm going to tell you right now, it is not for the weak. It is not for the insecure. It is not for the suspicious. It is not for those with low self esteem. Only the strong survive the long distance relationship. It is challenging beyond words. So when I met my husband, he lived in the Midwest. Yeah, he lived in the Midwest. I lived on the East Coast, Northeast. We met. I was like, hey, you want to be my boyfriend? Said yes or no. This is not a joke. This is not a lie. I gave him a piece of paper. I said, check yes or no because I'm funny. At least I think so. He checked yes. I said, all right, let's go. We did long distance for a couple of months. You know, when I got a chance, I would fly to see him. In the beginning, I think I flew to see him once, and then for New Year's, we met up in Vegas and brought the New Year together. From there and forth, I was like, you know what? Leap of faith. I'm gonna go move to the Midwest where he is. That didn't last long, mainly because his job had him at work like well over 16 hours a day. And by the time he got home, he didn't want to talk to me, which I understood because we both did the same job before and I met him that way. So I understood the job. But living where he lived, there was nothing to do. I ain't know nobody and I was bored out of my mind. So I said, I am going back home, I'm going back to work. I didn't quit my job because I'm not stupid. But how did we survive? The first reason why we survived the long distance relation is I'm not crazy in that way. You know, I had an ex tell me, I trust you to do whatever it is that you're going to do. That's a wonderful way to live. It makes perfect sense. If you bother yourself with like, yo, I trust him, they're not gonna do nothing, he's not gonna do nothing, nothing. You are lying to yourself. Like, that's my boyfriend. He's probably gonna do some things. Am I okay with it? Probably not. Do I care that much? Probably not. So I wasn't in a state where I was overtly cautious and worried. You know, live your life. I'm gonna live my life. Let's see where it goes. There were some bumps in the road initially with communication. You know, he hadn't had a girlfriend 8 years, 10 years, something like that. Confirmed bachelor, loved his bachelor lifestyle. Really didn't matter. That didn't bother me because, like I said before, the person that you want, you have to put yourself out there to get. So we were like-minded when it came to work. There were certain things about him that benefited me and worked for me, you know, that yin and yang. So I decided not to be that person, which I never was. I'm not going to go through his stuff, but his communication, which, like I said before, a decade later, is not that much. It's not great, but boy, have we got leaps and bounds. So I would call him and I wouldn't hear from him, or I would text him, I wouldn't hear from him, wouldn't hear from him, wouldn't hear from him all day. Like, I knew the job, so I knew that there was times that there was no, you know, you can't communicate. You're working all day. The job requires a certain level of attention, so you can't always be on your phone. It's not one of those jobs. But I would tell him, explain to him, I need you to at least, because I know the job you have, and I know you got a second to pee. You went to the bathroom, you had time to text me back. Just to let me know that you're okay. Because one, we're so far away from each other, I don't know what's going to happen. And two, your family don't know me. No one's going to call me and let me know that something has happened to you. So it's just for my peace of mind versus me checking in on you. I don't care about that. You don't have to tell me you're too fro, whatever. I can care less. But trust. That was the biggest thing. It was trust and communication. We were super corny. We would live on Yahoo Messenger, like on the video, and we would constantly, when we had time, put that video on. He'll be watching TV, I'll be watching TV, and it was just like we was together. Like we didn't have to talk. We didn't have to talk constantly. It wasn't necessary. So we were able to get that done. Then we decided to get married, and we had a huge bump in the road with that, being long distance and things of that nature. But nonetheless, we passed all of that. We decided to get married. So now we're engaged, and coincidentally, he asked me to marry him on Yahoo Messenger because it was fitting. He knew I was coming to see him in a week or whatever. That's when I got my ring, because I flew out monthly. If I didn't fly to see him, he flew to see me. He did move further from the Midwest, further west. So we would still travel. When he was in the Midwest, sometimes I would drive, but most of the time I would fly. But we continued to communicate and build the relationship, and I would see him, and I make sure I keep the lines of communication open. But there was a lot of learning curves with it. I had to express to him some things. We had each other's passwords. It really wasn't necessary. I really didn't care that much, but I had learned a couple of things about him. I learned that he didn't know that the women in his life have to be put in a certain category now. They have to understand what their place is. You guys can absolutely remain friends. I can care less about that. I have a ton of guy friends, and I need somebody to understand that. So I'm also going to be understanding to him having a bunch of female friends. That's just who he is. But they have to know their place, and they have to know certain language. And I also had to teach him to erase messages. I'm like, bro, you gotta erase these messages. Like, why would you leave them there? Erase them. Had to put them on the game. But nonetheless, it wasn't, for me, it wasn't a red flag. It was a bachelor turning into a spouse. And he had a long time of doing things by himself and traveling from place to place and just being his own. So I was willing to go through that learning curve with him, because once again, I'm not there. He's not there. We don't see each other. So there has to be a level of strength that comes with that. And you have to be able to maintain your sanity. So if you're the kind of person that has to look through every email, text, you on their social media, you checking out this, you looking at the algorithms, you trying to figure out, you cross-referencing, you got a spreadsheet up, you got all the papers up talking about, okay, so on this day he texts this person, and on that day he took that person. You can't be in a long distance relationship. You need to be local. And if you're familiar with New York, you need to be like, if you live in Brooklyn, you only date people in Brooklyn. Don't date nobody in Manhattan, because that's not for you. You're not going to make it. You have issues. You have trust issues. I don't know if somebody broke you, or if the damage was done by the women in your life, the men in your life, passed down from generation. But you need to stay super local, maybe in the same neighborhood, maybe not neighborhood to neighborhood. You need to be really local, because it's not for you. It's hard not to see the person that you're trying to get to know and be with often, but you can learn so much about them. Like, it just opens up a whole new world. And then when you see them, it makes it so much better. Every time I seen him, I was happy. Versus, when you're right next to somebody, every time you see him, you don't be happy. You're like, oh, I just seen you yesterday. You're here again. But it was super, I don't want to say it was super easy, because I think that would kind of be a lie. Because like I said, we had challenges, and I think we would have had that challenges long distance or not. But it was super easy. He's super laid back, and I'm as uptight as I am. I'm really easygoing in a relationship, at least in my opinion. You know, my husband can definitely comment down below and say no, she's not. But like, I don't require a lot of attention. If you are a person that requires a buttload of attention, long distance relationship is just not, it's not for you. I wouldn't recommend it. I actually don't recommend a long distance relationship for anyone because it's a ton of work. And if you are not ready to put that work in, or you don't have to put that work in, then don't. But I put out in the universe what I wanted, and he met the qualities that I needed to match me. I need someone that can match me in what I do. Someone can understand me. So if this person was 100 miles away, then who am I to say, oh man, he's too far? I'm not going to block that. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make it work. And I made it work. And he made it work. And we made it work. The problem I did have is when it was finally time, even when we got married, we were still in two different states for another maybe 6-7 months before I finally caught up to him and stayed. And then fast forward later on, he left again for a year, and we were apart. And then I'm gone right now, so we're apart again. And the key to all of those survivals, not to say that they did not have a lot of hiccups, is consistent communication. And it doesn't have to be like long conversations. Hi, how are you? When he was gone, I made sure his daughter seen his face every day because she was 1 and I didn't want her to forget her dad. And we make sure my daughter sees my face every day. Now she's 6. She's not going to really forget me, but like for me, it's more for my mental health. I need to see my baby every day. But the long distance is all about a level of trusting that your partner is going to do what they're going to do. In the distance, whatever happens out of it, the distance didn't create it at all. Because we already are who we are. Circumstances gave them the opportunity, but the distance doesn't create problems. These are things that could happen inevitably. Okay, if you're worried about cheating, guess what? You can worry about somebody cheating, and they live 2 blocks down. There's always opportunity. Distance is not the only opportunity. So if you're thinking about getting into a long-term relationship, you really have to ask yourself, are you mentally and physically capable of maintaining that relationship? If not, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Unless this person is absolutely your soulmate, the person you're meant to be with, I'd leave it alone. It worked for me. It works for some. But I'm going to say for most, it does not. It's damaging. But at the same time, it can just bring you together on another level. And like I was trying to say before, I lost my train of thought. The one thing that I was worried about when we finally got together was, will we like each other still once we see each other every day? Because we're not used to it. And truth be told, we did. I think we built that foundation of wanting to be around each other in those 3 years that we were long distance and in and out of each other's physical life, that we appreciated being with each other. It's like we spent the beginning apart. Let's spend the rest of this together. Let's do the rest of it. And I'm telling you right now, quarantine proves that I can survive being with that man every single day. And I probably wouldn't want to quarantine with anybody else besides him. Somebody else, they might have got shot. I'm just saying. I'm probably not supposed to say that, but I might have beat him up a little bit. We would have been fighting. But like always, please like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you think of the content. More to come. See you later. Bye.